Hello, guys and gals, lords and ladies, saints and sinners of every kind. Welcome to Rise Up Jerusalem, your Catholic podcast for teens. I'm your host, Connor McLaughlin, and once again this week, I had no idea what I was going to talk about. Until this Sunday, unfortunately, I heard the unfortunate news that Mother Angelica, the founders of EWTN, and probably one of the world's greatest leaders in Catholic television, passed away, unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately, because she's in heaven, because holy people go to heaven. But she is gone, and it's a sad passing. So I decided there are a lot of people who don't know who Mother Angelica is, unfortunately. So that's going to be my topic today. Who the heaven is Mother Angelica? Now, yes, I'm aware the other people I've done who the heaven is, i.e. Saint Bernadette and Juan Diego, they are actual saints. Mother Angelica will be an actual saint soon. Trust me. Calling it right now. She's going to be a saint. So let's begin. Who the heaven is Mother Angelica? She was born Rita Antoinette Rizzo, R-I-Z-Z-O, on April 20th, 1923 in Canton, Ohio. Whenever you think of a saint, you generally think, oh yeah, this saint came from Canton, Ohio. Like, that's not the first place you think a saint's going to be coming from. But that's where she was born, so that's how it is. Her father was a tailor, but left her and her mother when she was just 6 years old. Now, Mother Angelica, from what we know about her early life, she wasn't a sourpuss. She was a very fun, lively, energetic person, even though she kind of didn't have the greatest living situations. Her mother was a dry cleaner and really worked hard to put food every day on the table. She says that she really didn't have an amazing childhood, that oftentimes she felt like she wasn't safe living where she was, that once she even got shot at. There were many times in young Rita's life in which life was a little bit crazy. For example, she had severe stomach pains between the ages of 16 and 19. At 19, she said that she woke up one day and had no pain. Just miraculously, even after years and years of doctors trying to treat her, just no pain, and all of a sudden, really believing that God had performed a miracle on her. When she was 20, she was in a church praying and felt God calling her to be a nun. She went to go visit many different convents to try to figure out which order she should be in, and felt like she was really being called to the contemplative life. She joined the Poor Clares in their location in Cleveland, Ohio. Again, like, if you're thinking of somebody who's going to be a super holy saint, you don't think they're going to be living in Cleveland. Anyways, in 1945, she was vested as a Poor Clare, and she chose the name Sister Mary Angelica of the Annunciation. Shortly thereafter, the convent actually moved to her hometown of Canton, and so she got to go back home to live there, but she was contemplative, so kind of awkward. And in 1953, she made her solemn profession of vows and became a full nun. Later in her life, she really felt like she was being called to start a religious community to appeal to African Americans in the southern states. In 1957, Archbishop Thomas Tulin suggested that she open a Franciscan order in Birmingham. So with a number of other Poor Clares, she actually started raising necessary funds, partially from selling and making fishing lures. Yeah, fishing lures. Go for it. It worked. That's what's crazy. It worked. And in 1961, the nuns bought a building and land. In 1962, they officially established an order. Now, in that same year, Mother Angelica started to do almost like lecture series to her community on matters relevant to the Catholic faith, and started recording the talks to sell them to make money for the convent. And Bishop Joseph Vath noticed her talent and how great she was at communicating with the lay people, and said, keep doing that. Keep going. You have a real gift here. So she started taping a radio show that would broadcast Sunday mornings, and started videotaping her talks in the late 1970s, which were broadcast onto the Christian Broadcasting Network. Now, in 1981, she visited a Chicago television studio and was so amazed by how much it could do that she decided she needed one, because she was going to start her own television station. Now, even Mother Angelica says, the idea of cloistered nuns starting a television show may be one of the craziest ideas ever. But when God tells you to build a television station and you're a cloistered nun, you build that television station. So she formed what is now known as EWTN, the Eternal Word Television Network. Her shows were first actually started in a garage at the monastery. They didn't have much money. They grabbed all the bare necessities that they needed to start it, and they went with it. They were rolling. Because Mother knew this is what the communications media is. if somebody, if there is sports and news on this and people are watching it, then there needs to be some way to spread the faith on it. If Mother was alive today, I sincerely believe that, like, if she was like at her time in 1981, if she was at that time in her life now, I feel like God would have just called her to start a YouTube channel. Because honestly, that's what it is. She said, here's a media which people are watching, and a media in which they can learn the faith from. Am I saying that Mother Angelica should be the patron saint of YouTube? Maybe. I never said that. You can take that what you will. The great thing about Mother Angelica's work is that she was really spreading the ideas of Pope John Paul II and the new evangelization. He said that for the new evangelization to be effective, you have to have an understanding of the culture of our times in which the social communications media is so influential. He even said that the question isn't if they will understand, if the lay people will understand the faith. It's the question of how do you get them to hear it in such a way that they will want to listen? And that's what Mother started doing. Yes, maybe there were some Christian groups on television in the 1980s, but probably they were televangelists, just asking for money. Mother was spreading the good news of the gospel, especially in her truest form in Catholicism, on a television station as a cloistered nun. If you were flipping through your channels and you saw a nun on TV talking, you're like, hold on a minute, what is this? This isn't Fox, they're not doing a segment. What is this Eternal Word television network? There are Protestants even today. There are non-Catholics who still watch EWTN. Why? Because it really is a showing of the gospel of Christ in such a beautiful form on television. In the same way, that's what I and a lot of other YouTubers try to do, is spread the news of the gospel through this media. Now, Mother Angelica continued to do this. She really appealed well to the lay people for two reasons. She was really funny, and she was blunt. If she had something to say, that's what she was going to say. Like she said, it would be easy to be holy if it wasn't for people. Yeah, no, totally. That's totally true, and it's really funny. She was just like, she had these great sayings that they're just like, oh wow, that really puts it into context. Like she said, give me an example of a problem you have, I'll make a bet. It's your will against God's. It's like, oh well, dang, that's right. Yeah, totally. She was appealing to people where they were on the television. The first person to do that, and it was so amazing. And she appeared regularly on her channel through her show Mother Angelica Live from the 1980s and the 1990s. In 2000, she suffered an unfortunate stroke, and she had unresponsive facial muscles, slurred speech. She actually had to wear an eye patch over one eye, and she continued to do her programs with the eye patch over one eye and even make jokes that she was now a pirate because Mother Angelica. However, on Christmas Eve, she had another stroke, and this one was much worse. It caused partial paralysis on the right side of her body. She had extremely bad speech issues. Her health was declined too much for her to be able to continue on with her show. In 2009, she received the Pro Ecclesiae et Pontifice medal from Pope Benedict XVI. That's the highest papal medal that can be given for service to the Catholic Church. In early December of 2015, she was put onto a feeding tube because she just couldn't get the nutrients she needed. And when Pope Francis this year was actually visiting Cuba, he recorded a message and sent it to Mother Angelica and said, hey, can you please pray for me? Because you're great. God bless you. And unfortunately, this Easter Sunday, just 3 days ago, she passed away. She passed away from complications of the stroke she had back in 2001. Now, Mother Angelica had this great line that I loved that said, I'm not afraid to fail. I'm afraid of dying, going up to heaven, and having God say to me, Angelica, here's what you could have done if you had loved me a little bit more. She also said that God didn't call intellectuals. He called dummies, and that's why she was there. She was really this person throughout her life who not only brought the faith to people, but was like, yeah, I'm bringing the faith to people. I'm doing God's will. It's what it is, just rolling with God's will. Like, how can you do that? How can you just have such faith in God to start a television station as a nun? Come on. You can't tell me this woman isn't amazing. On Easter Sunday, Pope Emeritus Benedict said that it was beautiful that Mother Angelica was able to die on Easter. And one of the priests who was attending to Mother Angelica, Father Wolf, said that early in the morning on Easter, all of the nuns gathered around her bedside to be able to pray for her in her last moments, and that they all started to pray the morning prayer, the Liturgy of the Hours. And because it was Easter, there is the morning prayer there is prayers for the office of the dead, when someone is going to die. But because it was Easter, everything else goes away. So you say what the Easter prayers are. And the Easter prayers requires an exorbitant amount of hallelujahs. And Father Wolf even said, it's so great that we were able to sing hallelujah, hallelujah, while this great woman was leaving to heaven. Late that night at 5 p.m., she passed away. And 100%, anyone totally believes that she right now is in heaven. If you want to learn more about Mother Angelica, there's an amazing book by Raymond Arroyo, who actually knew her very well. It's called Mother Angelica, The Remarkable Story of a Nun, Her Nerve, and a Network of Miracles. It's like $15 on Amazon. It's a great book. Raymond Arroyo. He writes a ton of great books, but that's one of his best books ever. I remember reading, I think it was maybe 10. I was like, holy cow, this woman's amazing. So guys, thank you so much for watching this episode. I know between this one and the St. Bernadette 2, Who the Heaven Is, a little bit close together. But hey, she died, so let's talk about her. Partial clickbait? Not really, no. Guys, if you want to know more about Mother Angelica, look up that book. If you have any other saints you want me to talk about, or if you have any topics about the faith you want me to talk about, email me at riseupjerusalem.com at gmail, not riseupjerusalem.com, riseupjerusalem@gmail.com. Leave a comment down below. Tweet me at riseupjerusalem. Whatever. I don't care. I will talk about whatever, and hopefully you know that. So thank you everybody so much for watching, and as it was in the beginning, is now and ever shall be, rise up and live.